Shut the fuck up, everybody. Follow the beach and listen to me again talk a lot of bollocks about something I know very little about. And tonight, I know very little about the Seiko Marinemaster Tuna reference SBBN045 professional 300-meter saturation diver's watch. And before we go any further, let's take it off the cushion for a closer look. There it pops, and look at him, quite lovely in his fantastic attire. The original Tuna, the grandfather Tuna, was first designed by Ikuo Tokunaga in the late 60s and first released in 1975, the 6159-7010, and I think very little has changed since then. An original design didn't need to be changed because it was pretty much perfect from the start. But this one, I think, is the biggest small wearing watch I've ever seen, with its massive and imposing 47.7 millimeter diameter case, but unbelievably it wears something like a 42 because of its tiny lug-to-lug spacing of 44.2 millimeters. It's just over 14 millimeters thick, so not too tall, and it's really quite amazing how something seemingly so large can wear so small. I'll admit straight away that I've never been a fan of the Tuna. I'd never liked it, but I'd never tried it. And this says a lot about watches. Until you actually get one in your hand and put it on your nagdastak, you don't know if you like it or not. You might think you don't, but I can tell you for a fact, I'd seen this guy from afar for many years, and it didn't appeal to me at all. It was a strange looking creation, and this one's a quartz as well, which is I've never been a fan of, and they retailed for over £1,000 as well. Over £1,000 for a quartz watch with no bracelet. I mean, it's a tall order, but something about this Tuna, I mean, it just has it. Whatever it is, this watch has it in spades. The Seiko magic, I suppose you'd call it, and its predecessor, the SBBN031, came with the traditional Marinemaster bracelet, which I can show you. This isn't the actual one, this is off the SLA023, but it looked exactly like this, with its thick ratcheting dive extension, and everybody knows about it. Most people don't like this. I love this bracelet. This is what the other one came on. But it also came with a hardlex crystal and the more unpopular Monster style handset, the rocket hands. This 045 has been upgraded with a flat sapphire crystal with a lovely, it's a flat crystal, but it has this internal dome. Look at that. You can see it there. Internal dome, AR coated on the inside, sapphire, and a much more attractive handset that harks back to the original grandfather Tuna handset. It's almost identical, other than that I think the original one had the separating line there going up into the arrow pointer. Very nice, and I think if a tool watch was ever to be explained by only a photograph, I would want that photograph to be of a Seiko Tuna. It is a real tool, I mean an absolute tool designed specifically for real saturation divers. Now it's a collector's watch, but that was its original purpose, and it maintains that to this day. Hardcore Tuna turf will say that real tuners are 600 meter, 1000 meter tuners are monoblock only cases, titanium cases. This is a screw down case back, but it is rated for saturation diving. So this is a real dive watch, whether you like it or not. That's what it is. And inside it is the 7C46 movement, which is a high torque 7-joule quartz movement that was actually designed specifically for the Tuna in 1975. It's not thermoregulated like the ones you'll find in Grand Seikos that run at about 0.2 seconds per year, but it's still far from a cheap movement. It is not a cheap quartz movement. It's incredibly accurate, probably less than a second a month, and a battery life is spec'd for 5 years. But anecdotally, I can tell you, I've read a lot of owners' comments about these things, saying these 7C46 movements can run for 10 years on a single battery, and they frequently do. And the mega accuracy that is offered by the GS thermoregulated movements comes at the cost of massively reduced battery life. I think it's about 2 years between changes on those freaks, and impressive though they are, I think if one of these runs for up to 10 years at around 10 to 12 seconds a year, I think that is more acceptable. Nothing more to say about it really, other than that this hits its marks perfectly. Look at that. In the face. Absolutely proper. And no juddering at all. This is not a shitter movement, although it is a quartz, and the wizardry internalized that allows this extra torque, it is needed to power these large and heavy hands that are deeply dished with loom. I mean, they're not underdosed, and I will talk about the loom, but this is a heavy handset, and that's why we need this kind of business. Seiko states plus minus 15 per month, but I mean, in reality, that is complete nonsense. It will run around a second a month at worst. Anheuser-Busch, get rid of myself, I'm spilling it. This is the 6th take on this video. The last one, the camera broke down just as I was about to finish it, so it's not good. But anyway, let's move on with the dial. And the dial of this lovely watch is a matte black affair with large round loom plots. The loom on this is absolutely ridiculous, and I will show you that later, and I'll compare it with the SLA Marinemaster, and I think you'll be surprised of the results. I mean, it's megawatt, quasar bright loom, brighter than 1 trillion suns, and lasting twice as long as most of you one-pump chumps. The loom plots are larger at 6, 9, and in an inverted triangle at the 12. For orientation, when you wake up in the night and you need to have a piss, you'll know the time due to this lovely triangle that is there for you. He does also feature the dreaded sliver at 3 o'clock. We all know why it's there. We are so compliant in the last couple of years, and let's all stop complaining about it, because it's not going to go away. So we have to live with that. On the dial also will be printed words. You will find Seiko, Prospex X, Professional, and 300 meter printed north and south of the pinion and handstack. Unframed, now I can't see it, you see. Unframed white on black day date complication. I'll move the handset around so I can display what it does to you. It's not popped. There we go. We've got white on black here, and you get Saturday in a cool blue to remind you how much you can chill today. But unfortunately, Sunday will come in red, as Seiko always has done, to let you know that it's back to work tomorrow for you, you fucking dickhead, you fucking pleb. Stop drinking now as fuck, because tomorrow it's work. And then back to white on Monday. Lovely, very well done. Only Seiko does it like this. Great. the bezel here is not the best. I mean, it's a bit mushy. It's a Seiko bezel, but this one I was quite surprised. It's a bit soft, especially for a Marinemaster. I was expecting more, but it's not bad. I still like it, but it isn't the best. Clicks around 120, bit of backplay, nothing too bad. We all know about them, and I like the feel of it, to be honest. It's only actionable here in certain points, but it isn't what I would normally expect from a Marinemaster. Let's put it that way. Now, it's partially shrouded, well, by the shroud, and actionable only from the 12 o'clock to 3 and the 6 o'clock to 9. That's where you're going to grip this guy. But let's talk about what this watch is all about. Let me open him up. And that is the case. The case of this watch. And what a case it is. It's called the Tuna because of its resemblance to a tuna can. And it features fine brushwork throughout. Remember, this is an over £1,000 watch. It's very well finished. It features fine brushwork all around the case. The only signs of polish are on the little midgety lugs here and the two relief segments that are cut away to allow for your sweaty little trotters to grip this bezel. 3 hex screws are positioned around the case to secure the shroud to the case. 1 at 10, 1 at 2, and 1 at 8. A lovely, thick, slotted and unsigned crown punctures the shroud at the Seiko 4 o'clock position. Seiko's proprietary diashield coating is applied and will deflect, minor scuffs, but little more than that in my experience. Not a lot more, so it's not, it's not tegumented as a Vazin. That's what's up, bros. Moving on here to the strap. Well, the strap, it comes on a silicone strap. That's all you're going to get. No bracelet, but it is a nice strap. An accordion style scenario, which is attracting particulates as fuck, bro. I mean, it is not FKM. You will be slapping all kinds of particulate matter onto this like a magnet. It's like your TV screen. It has its own gravitational field for dust, and it will attract it. But it's very good, and he is comfortable and functional. And I've always felt that tuners actually look better on rubber. I mean, I think this watch on a black Tropic would look insane, and I will update you when Mr. June actually buys one, because I think it would look beautiful on a black Tropic strap. It also features some texturing here on the back. Lovely texturing there for comfort, and the bellows here where it meets the case will give some breathability to your greasy nagpastics. You'll have a satinized tang and buckle, excellent stainless steel, and you will have this lovely keeper. It's a bit scratched, but it's Seiko engraved, and it's finely beveled with a satinized brushed finish to it. Moving on again. there's not much more I can say. I mean, the case back has something a bit different I've never seen. It has this sort of graduated scale around it. I don't know what it's for. Tsunami wave as usual. It's high polish on the case back, and this one is a 030, so it's a 2020 March watch, and of course it says for saturation diving. Absolutely great. I think we've kind of hit it on the head there. We've said it all. So I'll sign off the video by giving you all a loom shot. Doxa can come off. We've got a loom shot and a wrist shot. So let's compare loom with another Marinemaster. Let's see what happens. Charge them both up first. Excuse me again. I'm having some digestive discomfort, and it's not easy. But let's get into this. There we go. I think that's equal. Let's have a look. This Tuna has better loom than an SLA MM300. I don't know how it does it, but it's brighter. Only the loom pip is a bit weak, but look at that! You can't really argue with it. It's brighter than my Marinemaster. All that's left is a wrist shot. So, we'll slap him on the wrist. Give you all a look. I mean, this watch is huge, but it wears so small. I would say you can have a wrist under 7 inches and still wear this watch without looking like a clown. My wrist is about 7.12-ish, depending on heat and how many burgers I've eaten. But look at that. It doesn't look that big, does it? Not at all. Or that thick. It's a true behemoth, but a wearable one. And I hope you all will at least consider one, because it is very special. Now, before I sign off, I think I'd like to remind you that you all know my good friend Mr. June. He's an enigmatic freak. He's the twerp supplier. He's the psychopath. And he has an Instagram channel. It's Mr_Seikosha. So I hope you'll all hit him up there, because he has all kinds of pictures of all kinds of watches. And he's a good man. Next week we have a white dial King Samurai. Second up, I'd like to big up my main man Big Stav, a liver-lipped megalith and a giant of a man, an old friend of mine. A good man. And finally, Mr. George, the inspector. Check him out. Full salute is bestowed upon him. He is a true Cypriot retard, JDM aficionado, and you'll find his channel at Inspector on YouTube. He's got a great collection, all kinds of shit, SLA, LX, tuners all over the place. Big up, George. And that's it. Gav Chris signing off. As always, stay freaky, bros. Never give up. For the beach.